All right, well, 2 weeks, a quick turnaround as we are back for Fierce Challenger Series 10 live from Warehouse 22 in Syracuse, Utah. Blake O'Reilly and Zach Partridge. Zach, a new state-of-the-art venue. It's going to be sold out. This is something that the team has really been looking forward to for quite some time now.
Yeah, I think we have found a real gem that's going to turn into kind of one of the desired places for fighters to fight in Utah. It's really cool. We've got an environment there that it's going to have great food, great desserts. By Sprinkleberry is a bakery that's local to there. Uh, the Zone is a food truck that does calzones, and it's fantastic. We just have a lot of really cool things there. And it's just going to be, the display is going to be cool. The fan experience is going to be unreal. And obviously the fights are going to be, this card's really good. And we expect, as the talent in Utah to grow, like it's just going to keep getting better.
Man, an incredible card, too. I was talking to Jason Laporte about it at the close of last show. I think this is one of the best Challenger Series ever. Might I say, maybe the best ever. There's so many big fights atop the card, atop the marquee, a professional one, as well as a pair of Rockwell Gold watches to be passed out as well. We're going to kick things off in the middleweight division between Quentin Henderson and Micah Murdoch. Quentin Henderson, someone who trains down in Nevada, more of an independent style fighter. Also on the other side is Micah Murdoch, a new name out of Agema.
Really interesting. Quentin Henderson, a lot of similarities for him and his brother. His brother fighting for a steel fist title, had some good success over there, fighting Tyler Call in our July show. That's coming. And then, Quentin, his brother, they train together in their basement, in their garage. Very similar to St. George MMA and what Hannah Silva and Mortgage College it's got going on. So, just because they don't have the, traditional ideal training scenario like Micah does at Agema, fighters have found success like Hannah and Morgan have in the Fierce Cage. Quentin and John are looking to replicate that style, and you know, great to work with, down to fight anybody. The middleweight division's always kind of been one that's a little bit tougher to get talent for some reason. It seems shallow, but we have a lot of really talented middleweights on this card. Really excited to see Micah. I think we have 3 debuters, 6 total fighters for at 185 on this card. And I'm really excited to be kicking it off with these two guys that, I think they're going to come and bring a lot of energy to the show and a lot of energy to the middleweight division here in Utah.
Yeah, Micah Murdoch, also a debuter, a state placer back in the day as well. All right, we move from 85 down to 45. Nico Mascarenhas, I hope I'm getting that pronunciation correctly, versus Nico Suaskun, who's going to be making the walk once again. Nico Suaskun blew the roof off of Bonneville High School just a couple of months ago, Zach.
The battle of the Nikos. It might be the first time in MMA history that 2 Nikos have fought each other. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. One thing that's really exciting for me is, Nico Suaskun, he had such a great performance. And when you have film on one guy and the other guy's a debuter and you don't have film on the other, it makes me think, what does Tooele know about their Nico to be so confident against Excite MMA's Nico going into this fight? Very interesting for me. I'm excited. We always know when those guys come from Tooele that, one, they bring a crowd no matter where they go. They travel and they bring a crowd. And two, their fighters are tough as nails. And so Tooele's Nico, I don't expect anything less. And Nico from Excite, and I keep saying their gyms because I don't want to butcher their last names. I'm not as good at this as Blake. But Nico from Excite came to the fights to watch his teammate Austin Cardone, who had a phenomenal war on May 31st card at the Maverick Center, and he said he expects to put on another show June 15th. So I can't wait to see what those featherweights bring to the cage.
Interestingly enough, 12-year age gap between them, 19-year-old Suaskun, 31-year-old Mascarenhas. Quite the stark age differential, as well as kind of maturation, right? Like from 19 to 31, there's a lot of growing in between that time.
Man, when matchmaking, when you get these young guys, I do get coaches a lot asking for matchups not against grown men, right? 18, 19, 20, your body's still developing quite a bit. Uh, so interesting, very interesting, very excited to see how this one plays out.
All right, this next one, we go back up to middleweight. And this one's kind of interesting. Two out of staters in this one. Walker Pelto facing off against Riker Wood, both out of Idaho. Walker Pelto out of Memento Mori. As for Riker Wood, a teammate of Lane Dalton, been looking forward to fighting alongside his teammate once again.
By the way, Walker Perto, I believe the second leading in ticket sellers for an out-of-state fighter on this card. Expect a huge pop when he makes his walk. This kid's an absolute stud. Trains with a bunch of studs. Shaden Polson, who's one of the best light heavyweights in the state, former Steel Fist lightweight champion. I believe that title's vacated as he focuses on his gym and his career. You know, very highly touted out of that area of of Idaho and northern Utah. Walker is Riker Wood, fun striker in his debut fight. I don't know if you had the chance to watch it. Really fun. And Walker is a stud. And what was fun was when Lane Dalton's when his coach agreed to this matchup, he said, Riker's in a room with a bunch of high level wrestlers all the time. Like, let's see how he does in the cage with one, and I love coaches that put their amateurs in challenging situations and believe in them to rise to the occasion. Make no mistake. I think Walker is a stud. I think Riker's a stud. This has, for me, fight of the night ran all over it.
Yeah, Walker Pelto, a state champion as well. That talking about that wrestling shop that he has. All right, this is a big one that I am really looking forward to. Down at 125 pounds, Devin Monty versus Dante Morales. Never got the chance to train with Dante Morales down at Agima, but I actually got to see him fight on the same card that you fought just a couple of months ago, and he really wowed the crowd.
Yeah, great jiu-jitsu guy. Another one, I'm pretty sure pretty significant age gap on this one. Devin Monty. His first fight was a while ago. And now he's moved to Vegas, trains at Syndicate, and they were ready. They were ready to take a challenge. It shows, like, again, he's obviously evolved a lot since his first fight back in 2017, Devin, or you assume that he would, to watch Dante's last fight and agree to the matchup. It kind of, what does Syndicate maybe know that we don't, where Devin's grown. But Dante, I think Dante's a stud and a submission specialist, and I'm really excited to see this fight, and flyweights are always fun.
Yeah, Agima, the most active gym in the state. They have been for quite a while now.
Years.
Devin Monty, coming out of Syndicate MMA, the most successful out-of-state gym under Fierce Fighting Championship. They're 3-1 on the year as well.
No kidding.
Yeah. Dylan Bolt versus Jackson Judd. This one kind of just got signed on the dotted line a couple of days ago. Jackson Judd making his debut. As for Dylan Bolt, he's back after the longest layoff of his career, nearly a year since last time we saw Bolt.
Well, we love Dylan. Helped out at our last show. He had a tough fight in his last fight almost a year ago. He's recovered, chomping at the bit. I think 135 is a really good move for him to drop down to 135. Jackson Judd, he's young and he's eager to get in there. I mean, it takes one of the most prepared young men we've had the opportunity to work with. He already had his license and medicals all done before he even had an opponent. He was that eager and ready to jump in a cage at any opportunity that he got. So when this presented itself, they jumped all over it. And I love fighters like that. I love fighters. I mean, for his first fight to not have to do a camp because he's always training. I think that's really cool. And it's a good way to get good opportunities and get in at a show like Fierce. Any regional show, you're going to stay in close contact with guys like that. And I always tell people like that, it's not a bad thing to have a show, eager to have you back. And so hats off to Jackson Judd. We love Dylan. I expect a really exciting fight. Dylan's always been game, so he's never been in a boring fight. I don't expect this one to be.
Yeah, I texted Jackson. I said, how are you feeling taking this fight on 2 weeks' notice? It's kind of a fast camp and a fast turnaround. He's like, I've been training a lot longer than 2 weeks for this fight. So message received. Cannot wait for that one at
Yeah.
135 pounds. All right, this one headlining the prelims. Taylor Mafileo versus Michael Pfeiffer. This one back up at 185 pounds. This is a big one. Taylor Mafileo off of that fast finish in January. As for Michael Pfeiffer, he's won 2 in a row now.
Yeah, and Mike finally gets to take a fight on a camp, right? He's been Mr. Short Notice guy, kind of. Um, they're both 2-1, but very different paths to 2-1. The one thing is, you know, we're one thing is definitely is there are not people lining up to fight Taylor Mafileo, and Mike asked for it. He says, I'm down. He felt like he owed him that fight since their fight got canceled last October. Taylor's been extremely patient. Um, you know, I try to explain this to people because everybody asks when I send them the name Taylor Mafileo. Is that Kent's little brother? Yes, yes, it is. Ghost. Normally that's the response. And Taylor is not his brother, make no mistake about it. But he is looking to make his own path and he works hard. He does all the right things, doing a lot of good things up there at Rise Boxing. He's tough, but nobody has chosen to stand with Mike yet. As soon as they feel his power in any way, shape, or form, they are very quick to get that fight to the ground. And I do believe that Taylor will oblige in the stand-up game and they're going to kickbox a little bit and both show their skills. It is an MMA fight. It absolutely can go to the ground, but I think, I mean, this is another one that I think could just really, really just be a treat for the fans to have two guys that are going to come in there to take each other's heads off. All the respect in the world. I love that Mike goes, I know this is a hard fight. I want hard fights. I just want somebody that'll stand with me. I think Taylor's that guy. And Taylor is, I think that's safe to say at 2-1, the winner of this goes to 3-1 and probably is putting himself in some sort of title picture there.
All right, we move to the main card. This one is really fun to kick things off. Tate Martin, he's gone on to actually get another win. He debuted with us back in January. This is his third fight of 2024. He's going to be facing opposite Derek Jorgensen, who got a win just a couple of months ago over at Steelfist.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a really good fight. Tate's kind of, he had a really fun fight up in Idaho Falls and then on Mountain Force as well, followed up staying active, wants to stay active. 3 different weight classes, I believe, 155, 150, and now going down to 145, which is I think is where will be his home, looking to move to 3-0 and possibly put himself in the title picture. Derek's very good and very tough. Though there's, strength of schedule type thing is a big thing for me in MMA. It's not always about what's your record. It's about who you fought. And, Derek is beating good guys. The guy that he got his win on last March Challenger Series, Anthony Hickson.
Anthony Strickland Hicks.
Anthony Strickland Hicks. Thank you. He's gone on to stack up a nice couple of wins. That's turned out to be a pretty good win for Derek. So, I mean, Derek's beating good guys and Derek's beating good guys and the guys that he are losing to are absolute studs. I think this is a really good battle at featherweight. Again, another kind of winner probably rises into the title picture, maybe looking at a number 1 contender fight next for the winner of this fight.
I cannot wait for this next one at 170 pounds. Lane Dalton, who last time we saw him last September opposite Tyler Call, he was 1-0. Now he's moved to 3-1, and he's facing off against Camuela Mamone, the older brother of Ricky Mamone. They're both certainly products of their father and his training. On the other side, Lane Dalton, who's averaged a fight every 64 days since he kicked off his amateur career.
Really interesting about Camuela. Ricky is a stud and a savage. I've talked to people that have been in the room with him. They think that Camuela is even more skilled and developed, right? He's a older version of Ricky. And we've seen what Ricky brings to the cage. I've seen firsthand as Camuela has fought 2 of my teammates. That kid's a warrior and he fights very similar to Ricky, and he might even have more tools than Ricky, which is kind of scary and ridiculous to think about. Also, a little backstory. Camuela missed weight at 155 a few times. The athletic commission's no longer allowing him to compete at 155 pounds. This is his first walk at welterweight at 170, which isn't a big cut for him either. So very interesting. I think, Lane's fought, I believe, at 180, some heavier weights. Lane is a stud. Him and Tyler Call had probably one of the most technical, unbelievable amateur fights that we've seen last year at the September Challenger Series in Farmington. And I'm really interesting to see if Lane's wrestling can get it done against Camuela's power and explosiveness. I think this is this is a fight that just is kind of it might be just bonkers the whole time.
I cannot wait for that one. That one is certainly circled on my list. Logan Taylor versus Austin Munoz follows suit. Austin Munoz besting Isaac Allen back in March. Now he faces a new name out of Agima in Logan Taylor. Both of these guys undefeated in their own respects. It's going to be a big one at 155 pounds.
I mean, winner's getting a title shot after this. Ammon Garcia's, with the way everything happened, his next fight will be his pro debut. That title will become vacant, and we're looking at some dance partners for the winner of this fight to potentially be fighting for a title in the near future at a Fierce show. And man, great fight. Two young studs. Logan had one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen as a 2-0, goes up to Front Street in Boise, beats the hometown kid, undefeated 4-0 jiu-jitsu stud, Amir Tillich, in just an unbelievable performance. And Austin, obviously, I mean, him and Isaac, they played Rock Sock'em Robot, and he showed incredible toughness and obviously has power in his hands. So very, very excited. I think I don't expect this one to go to decision, but I guarantee it will be action packed, until it's done.
Tyler Harden versus Ricky Mamone, the first of two belts on the line. This one at super featherweight at 150 pounds. Tyler Harden out of Colossal Fight Company. As for Ricky Mamone, we have seen him go on this streak over the last year or so.
Yeah. So what kind of happened is Tyler was the cut to 45 was getting harder and harder. He's the Steel Fist 145 champ. The cut to 45, I guess, was getting harder and harder. And so he was just trying to put on more weight already to prepare to go to 155 and make his pro debut. Well, when we called him, they said, they'd happily accept. They accept the fight. They just were worried that 145 on short notice, where he was already trying to put on weight, would just be a little too much. So, we settled on 150. I like it. It's a very, very much so a title worthy fight, as well as as well as an exciting fight that we wanted to make. And so, doing it at 150 is not a big deal. Call it a super featherweight, belts on the line, two studs. Really excited to see, Tyler, if he wins, decides to go pro, what that looks like. Ricky, what's next for him if he wins, defending it. I'll tell you this: not a lot of people lining up to fight Ricky Mamone. Not a lot of people fighting up. It's pretty funny. I offered it to a handful of people that took other title fights, out of state or or in different states, not out of state. I had other offered it to other people out of state that took title fights on other shows, not in their home states. I'm not trying to call anybody out or trying to make a point there. So please, nobody take it that way. But it's just, there's the list of people that want to fight Ricky Mamone is very short. So if anybody, win or lose after this fight, is interested in fighting Ricky and make my life a little easier, feel free to get in my DMs, because I'd love to meet you.
Back at 145 pounds, Melody Schrock versus Asia Negron. Asia has not been in the MMA rule set in 4.5 years, but she did get a Muay Thai bout back in March. As for Melody Schrock, she has not been in the cage for nearly a year up to this point, as she looks to be the first female to ever defend for Fierce Fighting Championship.
So this one for me, it was kind of a tough pill to swallow. We've kind of set a standard. Nobody with a losing record has ever fought for a Fierce title. Okay. But I've made an exception on this one because she did get a Muay Thai win. So in her combat sports, she, she doesn't have a losing record. Here's the thing for me. I messaged every single 135, 145, 155 female with a 2-1 record or better in the entire West. I messaged all of them. Crickets, no thank yous, not interested. That's all I got back from Melody Schrock. That's all I got back. What else am I going to do? Girl wants to fight. We got to get her a fight. Asia stepped up. Super excited. Stylistically, really fun fight. Who's going to win? The striker. Asia has, I would say, a massive advantage on the feet and her ability. And we all know how sick Melody's jiu-jitsu is. So I think this is a incredible fight that I think the winner's going to win by finish. We'll just see which skill set, comes through. It's really so funny. The last opponent that Melody had, it was like, oh, just don't let her arm bar you. And she broke her arm. Like she's good, Melody's another one and Asia's another one. Asia's super tough, been doing this a long time, has a lot of experience. Melody's another one. If win or lose, whatever, if there's anybody out there listening that thinks that they'd like to fight Melody Schrock, please let me know, because that girl probably needs to go pro after this fight if she gets her hand raised, just to get more options.
I just want to confirm everything that you said. Since Ariel France fell off back in January, I feel like it's been a weekly thing of, hey, how's the Melody search coming? And it's just been crickets for months. And so when you actually had someone, I was like, oh my gosh, you actually found someone. This is a miracle.
It's a miracle. Yeah. We're looking in Florida, it's tough. It's tough, but it's a good spot. It's a good fight. It's a good opportunity for both of them. I'm really excited to have Asia on the show. I fought on cards with her before. She's so freaking cool. Like, she's such a cool person to be around. Brings a great energy, and so is Melody. So it's just like, I love fights that it's like, it's just about the martial arts and it's about the competition and fight. And they're both fantastic human beings. I'm excited.
Raymond Lawley versus Hector Lopez to headline this 145-pound professional bout. Raymond Lawley wasn't able to get the nod opposite Teague Vigil just a couple of months ago. As for Hector Lopez, he's been gone for quite some time. He's going to make that jump up to pro against a formidable foe in Raymond Lawley.
I believe Hector Lopez was probably the most complete featherweight prospect, maybe in the region, when he won his title. I mean, his performance against Adam Frank was unbelievable. Unbelievable. And Raymond's a stud, man. They have really high hopes for him. I'm not sure what happened. I mean, he almost had Teague out of there. Might have underestimated Teague a little bit. Teague's much better than his record. I think it was when he was going into that fight 0-4, it was easy to underestimate him a little bit, but Teague's tough too. Raymond, again, it's like strength of schedule. Raymond's beaten some studs and he's lost to some studs. I think it's a really good fight. I think it's a good opportunity. Raymond with a win, I think his confidence and his stock soars and goes right back up. I think Hector Lopez, a little over a year off, if he comes in, kicks off his pro career with a win and looks like he hasn't missed a beat, he might quickly enter those ranks of the Andrew Mickelson, Cole Faust, you name it, the 1-0 guys that are like, they're on the trajectory to hit a big show. Who am I missing? Chris Choose 1-0.
Oh yeah. Who? I was thinking of Mauro, who's 3-0.
Mauro 3-0, making a walk on LFA here soon. Later this month. Joel Haro. The guys that are coming. I think Hector could absolutely be one of those guys that's in that conversation from Utah. But he's got a very formidable opponent in front of him Saturday night.
12 fights, 2 belts. The ceiling on so many of these guys that are making the walk, despite amateur or pro, are absolutely massive. Cannot wait for this one, live from Warehouse 22 in Syracuse, Utah. June 15th. Tickets on sale right now at fiercefightingchampionship.com. Fierce Challenger Series 10 assures to deliver. Zach, thank you so much, and cannot wait for this one. This is going to be a lot of
Thank you.
fun.